Chapter 2 of How to Succeed, or Stepping Stones to Fame and Fortune. This is a LibriVox recording. All LibriVox recordings are in the public domain. For more information or to volunteer, please visit LibriVox.org. Recording by Tech Savvy. How to Succeed, or Stepping Stones to Fame and Fortune by Orison Swett Marden. Chapter 2. Seize your opportunity. The blowing winds are but our servants when we hoist the sail. You must come to know that each admirable genius is but a successful diver in that sea whose floor of pearls is all your own. By Emerson. Who waits until the wind shall silent keep, who never finds the ready hour to sow, who watcheth clouds will have no time to reap. By Helen Hunt Jackson. The secret of success in life is for a man to be ready for his opportunity when it comes. By Disraeli. Do the best you can where you are, and when that is accomplished, God will open a door for you and a voice will call, "Come up hither into a higher sphere." By Beecher. Our grand business is not to see what lies dimly at a distance, but to do what lies clearly at hand. By Carroll. When I was a boy, said General Grant, my mother one morning found herself without butter for breakfast, and sent me to borrow some from a neighbor. Going into the house without knocking, I overheard a letter read from the son of a neighbor, who was then at West Point, stating that he had failed in examination and was coming back home. I got the butter, took it home, and without waiting for breakfast, ran to the office of the congressman for our district. "Mr. Hammer," I said, "will you appoint me to West Point?" "No." "Is there?" "And has 3 years to serve." "But suppose he should fail, will you send me?" Mr. Hammer laughed. "If he don't go through, no use for you to try, you lie. Promise me you will give me the chance, Mr. Hammer, anyhow." Mr. Hammer promised. The next day the defeated lad came home, and the congressman, laughing at my sharpness, gave me the appointment. "Now," said Grant, "it was my mother's being without butter that made me general and president, but he was mistaken. It was his own shrewdness to see the chance, and the promptness to seize it, that urged him upward. There is nobody, says a Roman cardinal, whose fortune does not visit once in his life, but when she finds he's not ready to receive her, she goes in at the door and out through the window. Opportunity is coy. The careless, the slow, and the observant, the lazy fail to see it, or clutch at it when it has gone. The sharp fellows detect it instantly, and catch it when on the wing. The utmost which can be said about the matter is, that circumstances will and do combine to help men at some periods of their lives, and combine to thwart them at others. Thus much we freely admit, but there is no fatality in these combinations, neither any such thing as luck or chance, as commonly understood. They come and go like all other opportunities and occasions in life, and if they are seized upon and made the most of, the man whom they benefit is fortunate. But if they are neglected and allowed to pass by unimproved, he is unfortunate. "Charlie," says Moses H. Grinnell to a clerk born in New York City, "take my overcoat tip to my house on the 5th Avenue. Mr. Charlie takes the coat, mutters something about, "I'm not an errand boy. I came here to learn business," and moves reluctantly. Mr. Grinnell sees it, and at the same time one of his New England clerks says, "I'll take it up." "That is right. Do so," says Mr. G. And to himself he says, "That boy is smart. He will work." And he gives him plenty to do. He gets promoted, gets the confidence of businessmen, as well as of his employers, and is soon known as a successful man. The youth who starts out in life determined to make the most of his eyes and let nothing escape him which he can possibly use for his own advancement, who keeps his ears open for every sound that can help him on his way, who keeps his hands open he may clutch every opportunity, who is ever on the alert for everything which can help him to get on in the world, who seizes every experience in life and grinds it up into paint for his great life's picture, who keeps his heart open that he may catch every noble impulse and everything which may inspire him, will be sure to live a successful life. There are no ifs or ands about it. If he has his health, nothing can keep him from success. Zion's Herald says that Isaac Rich, who gave $1.75 million to found Boston University of the Methodist Episcopal Church, began business thus. At 18, he went from Cape Cod to Boston with $3 or $4 in his possession, and looked about for something to do, rising early, walking far, observing closely, reflecting much. Soon he had an idea. He bought 3 bushels of oysters, hired a wheelbarrow, found a piece of board, bought 6 small plates, 6 iron forks, a 3-cent pepper box, and 1 or 2 other things. He was at the oyster boat buying his oysters at 3 o'clock in the morning, wheeled them in 3 miles, set up his board near a market, and began business. He sold out his oysters as fast as he could get them, at a good profit. In that same market he continued to deal in oysters and fish for 40 years, became king of the business, and ended by founding a college. His success was won by the industry and honesty. "Give me a chance," said Halliburton's stupid, "and I will show you." But most likely he has had his chance already and neglected it. "Well, boys," said Mr. A, a New York merchant, to his 4 clerks, one winter morning in 1815, "this is good news. Peace has been declared. Now we must be up and doing. We shall have our hands full, but we can do as much as anybody." He was owner and part owner of several ships lying dismantled during the war, 3 miles up the river, which was covered with ice and an inch thick. He knew that it would be a month before the ice yielded for the season, and that thus the merchants in other towns where the harbors were open would have time to be in the foreign markets before him. His decision therefore was instantly taken. "Reuben," he continued, addressing one of his clerks, "go and collect as many laborers as possible to go up in the river. Charles, do you find Mr. the rigger and Mr. the sailmaker, and tell them I want them immediately. John, engage half a dozen truckmen for today and tomorrow. Stephen, do you hunt up as many gravers and caulkers as you can, and hire them to work for me." And Mr. A himself sallied forth to provide the necessary implements for ice breaking. Before 12 o'clock that day, upward of 100 men were 3 miles up the river, clearing the ships and cutting away ice, which they sawed out in large squares, and then thrust under the main mast to open up the channel. The roofing over the ships was torn off, and the clatter of the caulkers' mallets was like to the rattling of a hailstorm. Loads of rigging were passed up on the ice. Riggers went to and fro with belt and knife. Sailmakers busily plied their needles, and the whole presented an unusual scene of stir and activity and well-directed labor. Before night the ships were afloat, and moved some distance down the channel, and by the time they had reached the wharf, namely in some 8 or 10 days, their rigging and spars were aloft, their upper timbers caulked, and everything ready for them to go to sea. Thus, Mr. A competed and on equal terms with the merchants of open seaports. Large and quick gains rewarded his enterprise, and his neighbors spoke depreciatingly of his good luck. But as the writer from whom we get the story says, Mr. A was equal to his opportunity, and this was the secret of his good fortune. A Baltimore lady lost a valuable diamond bracelet at a ball, and supposed it was stolen from the pocket of her cloak. Years afterward, she walked the streets near the Peabody Institute to get money to purchase food. She cut up an old, worn-out, ragged cloak to make a hood of, when lo, in the lining of the cloak she discovered the diamond bracelet. During all her poverty she was worth $3,500.